Getting your life back together after you've let it get out of control is a lot like cleaning your room when you've let it get too messy. At first, it feels overwhelming. Things are everywhere and you don't know where anything needs to go. Some of it's trash, some of it's stuff that you want to keep. Some of the things you need to get in order might be things that you need to tend to right away, while other things are things that you might be able to put off to the side until you need to sort them out or until they become a priority. That sense of overwhelmingness is a little hard to deal with at first when you just see all the chaos and you can't figure out where to start. But just like cleaning your room, getting your life together takes similar steps. Just get started and start putting things away. Clear the clutter and throw away some of the trash. Once you start doing a few things, you'll start being able to see the other things that need to be taken care of. But you can't really do that unless you start to break things down a bit. But once you start to tackle the challenge, you realize that it's not so bad. When your life is out of control and you try to tackle some of those problems, breaking things down into smaller, manageable tasks or challenges makes things a lot easier and less overwhelming. Similar to cleaning your room. It's a lot easier to clean your room when you break things down and start focusing on small areas rather than looking at the whole mess as one big picture. And you have to make sure that you prioritize things. Sometimes there's things that are critical that you need to attend to right away. And sometimes prioritizing doing some of the easier things first helps get them out the way so that you can focus on the larger tasks that you need to tend to when it comes to getting your life back in order. Same thing with trying to clean up your room or your office, in my case. If you've got a pile of smelly garbage or you spilled coffee all over the place, you should probably take care of that first. But if there's nothing critical like that in your room, maybe just sorting things out or throwing away all the boxes that you have laying around is a better thing to try to do. And remember that making progress helps motivate you to continue moving forward. As you start to take care of some of the issues in your life and you start handling some of those problems that you've had, you'll realize that making progress through those things will continue to motivate you in times when you feel like you just can't keep going. And building momentum is definitely critical when you're first trying to get things done. Especially if you haven't been making progress in a while. Seeing that early progress can really make a big difference, and it'll help you to continue tackling your challenges as you move forward. It feels the same when you're cleaning your room and you see some of that progress and you see that area that was a complete mess finally be tidied up a bit. It can motivate you to clean the rest of the room, because once you start getting some of the areas of your life together, it makes you really want to get those other areas put together as well. Sometimes in life, you need to figure out when to let things go. And sometimes you need to figure out when you need to just sweep things under the rug or put something away in a drawer for a later time. Not everything needs to be taken care of right away, although it may feel like that at first. Once you do start making progress and that initial sense of overwhelmingness has settled a bit, you can start figuring out what you need to get rid of and what you need to just tend to at a later time. My room was a mess, and I know that there's a lot of things that I need to get rid of right away. But there was also a lot of stuff that I needed to just put away for now. Out of sight, out of mind. And while that doesn't always work for getting your life together, it's just very much like putting things in a drawer for a later time to take care of. You know it's there. You know it's something you need to tend to. You make a note of it, you move forward, and then when you're ready, you take care of those things that you just weren't ready to take care of right away. It's all about maintaining. Things are going to get out of control every once in a while. Things are going to get messy. It happens. We're humans. We have busy lives. We have a lot going on. But as long as you keep up with it and you maintain as much as you can, things will begin to get less out of control. But every once in a while, you'll make a big mess and you'll have to pick it all back up again. But the more maintenance you do, sooner you realize that things are going to get out of control. And it helps you be more prepared for it the next time things get a little chaotic in your room or in your life. I know this metaphor for cleaning the room and putting your life together seems a little silly at first, and maybe I'm getting a little too philosophical when it comes to picking up the mess around here, but I just couldn't help myself realize that there were so many similarities between my room and my life getting a little messy. A lot of the times when your life's out of control, your environment gets out of control. When things are organized and everything's in order, it really makes you feel like you're having a fresh start. I always think about that scene in Limitless when Bradley Cooper takes the pill for the very first time. The very first thing he does when he gets into his apartment is clean and organize the whole place. He does that before doing anything else. And that always just stuck with me. Your personal environment often reflects the way that your life is going. And while I can manage an organized chaos, I always can focus more when things are in order and when I know where everything is and when my workspace is neat and organized. When things get too messy and get too out of control in your surroundings, you'll start feeling that in other aspects of your life. You'll often hear a lot of productivity gurus and people like that got that'll tell you to make sure that you clean your room or make your bed the first thing in the morning. Making sure that you declutter and have a clean, neat workspace is really good to help you focus on the task at hand, because it can be very distracting when everything's a mess. I don't know about you, but I know that when my office and my house is very messy, it becomes very stressful for me, because it's not like I can just go on with my day-to-day task and ignore the mess around me. And if I let the mess pile up and get worse and worse, it only makes me more and more stressed. I think I kind of mentioned this, but it does really reflect your current mental state. There's not many people who are in a good mental place that have a messy house. Usually when people are really depressed and are suffering with mental health issues, it spews over into their environment. And I know that a lot of people, including myself, when I'm in a slump and I'm really going through it and I'm having a tough time mentally, I'll let my environment get very messy and very dirty. Usually when I clean up my environment and I make sure that things are organized, it really helps improve the way that I'm feeling. And honestly, I can't be creative when everything's a mess. When my house is a mess, when my room's a mess, when things are disorganized and I can't find where anything is and I just let things get out of control, I'm usually not in a good place to try to create. I'm usually not in a good place to try to think. It's hard to think when your life's a disaster, literally and metaphorically. And those are all good reasons to make sure that you try to keep things neat and try to keep your environment around you clean and clutter-free, because it does impact your life. And like I said, when your environment's out of control, your life tends to get out of control. And I know that this video kind of feels silly and I'm making a lot of silly comparisons. One of the things that made me think about all of this recently was a Roblox streamer that went viral for having a super messy room. I can't even call it messy. It was disgusting. It was super dirty. And it was kind of sad. And I don't think that this kid notices how negatively this is probably impacting his life and how much is probably affecting his mental health. The videos that he made were kind of a joke around it and kind of poking fun at himself for letting it get so messy. And when I saw it, all I can see is a depressed teenager who's too busy and too consumed with streaming video games or doing whatever he's doing to take care of himself and take care of his environment. And I can tell you like this, even though I don't know this guy, I bet you that he's not in a good place mentally, because anyone that allows themselves to live in filth and lets their lives get out of control and lets their environment and their house and their workspace get super dirty and super messy and dirty to the point of like rotten food and everything is just such a mess, that's not good. And I know that this kind of went a little bit off topic, but it really is what made me think about all of this stuff as I was cleaning my office, because I kind of made a joke to myself when I decided to record myself cleaning my office, where I was like, man, this place is getting as nasty as that Roblox streamer's room. And with my comparison to Limitless and this Roblox streamer being a complete slob and letting his life get out of control and recording myself cleaning up my office to make a little bit of B-roll and put a video together, I kind of came up with all of this. And I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that it brought you some value. If it did, make sure you hit that like button. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.